Hello and welcome to Orca Scan. I'm Antonio and today I'm going to show you how to set up an event attendance solution. By the end of this video, you'll have a solution set up so you can begin scanning barcodes for people that attend your event, and that way you can track who came and how long they stayed for if needed. Now, the video is broken down into 3 sections. So the first part is importing your data into Orca Scan. If you have your barcodes and attendee information, great. If you have your attendee information but no barcodes, that's okay. And if you don't have any attendee information and you want to capture it, so you're starting from scratch, we've got you covered. So regardless of your situation, stay tuned because we will cover those things. So that's importing. And then the next thing is sending your barcodes to your attendees. So distributing your barcodes. So there's a manual way to do it and then an automatic way. So stay tuned for that as well. And then the third and final section of this video is just scanning. So this is when the event starts and you just begin scanning. So we'll cover all those things down below our hyperlinks in case you need to skip a section. But beside that, let's get started. The first thing you'll do is download the Orca Scan mobile app on your scanner, whether it's an Apple or an Android device. Just visit the App Store and download Orca Scan. After that, you'll sign into the web app. Just visit orcascan.com and click login. This is the screen you'll see if you're a new user. Go ahead and name your sheet anything that you'd like and select the event attendance sheet. Now, if you already selected another template, that's okay. It's fully customizable, so no worries there. You can still proceed. Just click create, and then I'll close the previews here on the left and right hand side, and I'll open the mobile app as well. After that, let's import the data. So open up your file, make sure it's an Excel format, and then have it look something like this. In other words, don't have formatting in there, remove all the formatting, make sure to name your barcode column barcode, as you can see here. It might be named something else in your case, like user ID, but just update the name to barcode. That way you're able to import it. And then if you have multiple tabs, get rid of them or just put the tab that you want to import in the very front. And then once your file is nice and clean like this, just save it, and then you can import it. If you don't have barcodes, so if your sheet looks something like this, that's okay. You can import that. And then after you import it, Orca Scan will auto-generate random barcodes for you that you could then send to your attendees. So again, you can import a file like this or like this. In this case, I already have my barcode, so I'll leave the file like that. And then I'll click import on the top left corner and then select that file. There are 2 actions, replace existing rows or add to existing rows. In this case, it doesn't matter since it's a brand new Orca Scan sheet, but if you do have data in your sheet, do be careful with the option you select. Then I'll click import, and voila, all of the data is there. The barcodes I created already are there. Again, if you didn't have barcodes, Orca Scan would have still generated some for you. And then what you can do next is get rid of any columns you don't need. So these columns here are reflected as fields on the mobile app. So on the mobile app, I'll tap refresh because we created a new column here. Well, a few when we did the import. So I'll open the detail screen by tapping on the plus icon, top left corner, and then you can see those fields there. So there's name, telephone, first name, etc. listed as fields on the mobile app, and then you see them as columns on the web app. So I want to simplify my view, make it simple, declutter it, so I'll delete any unnecessary columns. Just right-click one of them to do so, and then select delete. And you can also add fields if needed. So just right-click the column and then click add, or you can edit the current one. It's up to you, but I'll get rid of a few for now. Okay, so now you've got your data in here. Now, if you haven't collected any attendee data, that's okay. You can do so with Orca Forms. So the first thing you'll do is just set up columns for information that you want to capture. So you'll right-click an existing one, select Add Column, and then you can name the column anything, and then the data type could be something like a text field where they can just type, or it could be something like a drop-down list. And then you can also require it. So the data type tells the field how to behave, whether it's a text field or a drop-down list. And then these toggles here dictate how the field behaves. So if you wanted to require a field, you could do that. Or if you wanted to hide it, so the person that fills the form doesn't see it, but you can turn that on, hidden in mobile. Okay, so that's how you do it if you want to add custom fields so that when your attendee registers, they see those fields. Okay, after you do that, you can click on the paper plane icon, bottom left corner of the web app, and then turn this toggle on, and then click Save. Once you click Save, you can share this link here or the QR code. The QR code can be scanned from a phone, for example, and the form can be filled there. Or if you share the link, remember to click Save. The user can visit the form from a computer, and then they can fill their information in like this, and then click Done. And that's it. Now that's on the cloud already. I just need a click refresh here to visually see it, but it's there, and then a random barcode value is assigned to them. In order for this to work, in order for the barcode value to be assigned to them, to be auto-generated, you must make sure that the barcode column, so if you right-click it and select Edit, you must make sure that it's hidden in mobile. Make sure that's turned on, click Save, and then that'll do the trick. Okay, so now you've got your data in here, whether you already had the barcodes, whether you imported a file without barcodes, or whether you used Orca Forms, as you saw a moment ago, to capture the attendee information. So the next part of the video is sending the barcodes to the attendees. So let's dive into that. Now that your barcodes are in here, in this column, you can highlight them, click on the Labels tab, and then print or download them. If you print them, you can give them out to your attendees. This is a manual process. Or if you download them, you can import them into some other program and then have that some other program print them. But you could customize them to you beforehand. So if you select a barcode type from here, I'll choose the QR code. It's the one I recommend as well because it's the easiest to scan, especially if you're using a phone camera. And then you can put a label underneath if needed. So if you click on the three dots beside the barcode type you select, you can click Configure. And then beside label, you can select a value. So for example, you might want to put the first name in there. And then there you go, Olivia, and it applies to all the barcodes that you print. So what you could also do if you want to customize it a bit more is you can create a brand new label. So just click Create New Label there. Or if you want to customize the one that you're already on, you want to customize it further, just click on the three dots here and then select Duplicate. And then our barcode label designer comes up. So on the left-hand side here, you can put your label size. You can put a company logo in here if you want. Just click Image. And then in the label itself, you can actually customize it as needed. So you can resize everything, put different colors in there, things of that sort, put shapes, etc. Or you might just want to put the first and last name on the label, which is totally fine. And if that's the case, just drag it in there. So last name from the right-hand side, drag it into the field, and then you can change the size. So that's how you do it. And then you can save and close that, and you're ready to roll. So that's how you do it. Again, that is a manual process. If you want to automatically send each attendee an email with a barcode, with this barcode value here specifically, what you can do is open up Google Sheets. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then import your data there. In this case, I'll just use one row as an example, but you might have 20, you might have 200. Either way, it's okay. And so after you do that, you'll download a Google Sheet add-on called Document Studio. So we don't endorse them. We're not affiliated with them. It's just a tool that I personally like. So that's why I'm showing it to you. But if you don't feel comfortable using this tool for whatever reason, feel free to use a different tool. When you install it, you'll have to give it access to your Gmail so it can send emails as you. when it sends out the QR codes. But after you've downloaded that, go back to that Google Sheet and then click on Extensions. Then select Document Studio and then open it. Okay, so now that you're on here, you'll click Create Workflow. In this case, I'm going to edit mine, but it's the exact same process. Just name the workflow, select the sheet that you imported the data into, click Continue, process all rows or specific ones, up to you. And then you'll see a screen like this, and then just fill in the basics, service provider, sender's name, etc. Eventually, you'll get to the bottom here where you can create a custom message. Now, the custom message can say anything, so that's completely up to you. And you can even use curly brackets, as you can see here. And then the name that you put in the curly brackets should be a column name. So in the background here, it says first name, that's the column name, and then that's why I put that in there. So now what this is doing, this message, is it's grabbing the name from the first name column when it sends the barcode out. So now it'll say, hey, Antonio, and it'll send them that value there in the background. Okay, and then to put in the actual barcode, so the QR code that's going to be sent to the attendee, you'll use this variable here. So as you can see, it's two curly brackets, a space, and then it says embed QR code. There's a comma, another space, curly brackets, and then this says barcode because it's going to grab the value from the barcode column and send that value as a QR code. So when you scan it with Orca Scan, it'll recognize it, and it'll recognize that that barcode value is associated with Antonio, and then it'll register that information into your Orca Scan sheet, so you know Antonio attended your event. So that's how you do it. Make sure you copy this exactly and put it somewhere in your message. Okay, after that you can click Done, Continue, and then I'm going to click Save and Run. You can run the workflow every hour, and that's valuable in case you're using Orca Forms, as I previously showed you. And then if names are continuously being added, then you can turn that on. But anyways, I'll show you that in a moment. For now, just click Save and Run, and then the barcode will be sent out. Again, if you have 20 barcodes, 200 barcodes in there, 200 attendees, everyone is going to get a barcode. But for now, I'm just using one person as an example. Make sure to click Run Workflow, and then just give it some time. All right, so now I can check my email, and there it is. So that's a QR code that you'll scan to check the person into the event. They'll just open up their email, see the barcode, and then they'll show it to you. Now, I did talk about the Orca Forms. So if you have, for example, a form like this that people are continuously filling out, and then after they sign in and you want to automate this and you want them to receive a QR code, then what you can do is start a Google Sheets integration. The way to do that is pretty straightforward. So you click on the Integrations tab, you turn this on, click Copy, click Save, so you just copied that link. Then go to Google Sheets. So I'm going to get rid of all this data here. And this is what you do if you want to run the workflow every hour, okay? So you'll type in equals import data, parentheses, double quotation mark, paste the link, quotation mark, and then parentheses, and then tap enter. And this is exactly what you'll see. So the date you could customize so it's readable like this. But this is all your information in real time. Do keep in mind that this refreshes every 60 minutes, the Google Sheets integration. But basically what's going to happen is someone's going to fill this form. They're going to get a row here. So you'll see their name plus a QR code. And then that row is going to be updated into Google Sheets. So down here. And then Document Studio, which is the add-on I just showed you, will send them an email. Do keep in mind again that the Google Sheets integration refreshes every 60 minutes, so it might take an hour for them to receive it, the QR code. Now, just make sure though that when you do have that integration and you open up Document Studio and you edit your workflow under Save, you turn on Run Workflow every hour. So when you run this, which I won't now because these are sample emails, but these emails, including new ones that are submitted via the Orca form, are going to receive a QR code. Again, it could take an hour for them to receive it, but that's how you do it. Again, we don't endorse this tool. We're not affiliated with this company. It's just a tool I like. You can always use another tool if you decide to do that. For example, Google Apps Scripts, if you're a developer, tend to be a great solution as well. Okay, so now that you've distributed your barcodes, now that you have the data in here, it's time to get to scanning. With scanning, there are 3 ways to do it. First, you just scan the barcode and that's it. And then you know the person attended the event. The second way is use a drop-down list. And this is helpful when a person is attending multiple events and you want to keep track of what events they went to exactly. Was it 3 of them? Was it 2 of them? So on and so forth. And then the third and final method is creating a sheet per event. So you scan people into a sheet, and if they're on that sheet, that means they went to the event. So I'll quickly show you all 3 ways right now. Okay, so the first way is pretty straightforward. So you'll just scan their barcode, and I'm scanning from my screen here for demo purposes, but in the real world, you're actually going to scan the barcode of the attendee that you sent to them earlier. So when you scan their barcode, this comes up here. So you can just tap Save and Close. And then once you do, so on the right-hand side here, there's a date column. So if I edit this, right-click, select Edit, this is actually the date of scan. And the reason why is because the data type is datetime automatic. Remember, the data type controls the function of the field, and it's running in the background because this toggle's on. So that's why you couldn't see it here previously. Okay, so when I scan their barcode, this field here will auto-populate. And that's how you know the person attended the event. So for example, Liam here doesn't have a date timestamp, but when I scan their barcode like this, and then tap Save and Close, that's automatically on the cloud. I just need to click refresh to visually see it. But when I do that, a timestamp is auto-populated. Now there's a date timestamp for this user here, but that's because they submitted a form. That's how they enrolled into the event. So just make sure that before you start your scanning, you do clear this column so that you don't have a date timestamp for people that signed up via the Orca form. Or you could just leave it as is, and on the day of the event, you'll be able to see the updated date, or you can just reference the time. It's completely up to you how you want to do it, but you'd either clear it or just keep an eye on that. Okay, so that's how you do it. Just scan the barcode, tap Save and Close, and then the date timestamp is auto-populated. Now, you can speed up the process. So on the mobile app, you can tap Settings, so top right corner. And then if you scroll down a bit, you'll see 2 options there at the top. Add Detail After Scan, which you'll turn off, and Continuous Scan, which you'll turn on. And then click Done. And then now you can actually scan the barcodes quickly. So you can even turn on Beep After Scan. You won't hear it because it's connected to my computer, my devices, but you will hear it in the real world. And so what you're going to do is literally just scan a barcode. You're going to feel the phone vibrate. You're going to hear that beep. That's how you know that their barcode scan was registered. And then you'll keep doing that for everyone that comes into the event, just like that. So that's how you speed up the process. Now on the web app, after clicking refresh, you can see a date timestamp for all these people so you know they attended the event. That's how you speed up the scanning so you don't have to tap Save and Close every single time. Again, that was done via Settings on the top right corner. Turn off Add Detail After Scan, turn on Continuous Scan. All right, so that's the first way to scan. Just scan barcodes, you'll see a date timestamp. That's how you know the person attended the event. Now, you can also create triggers. Triggers are if this, then that statements, so they have logic built into them. So right now I have a column named quantity. As you can see, every time a barcode is scanned, the quantity goes up by 1. So if I scan the barcode 5 times, it'll say 5. But I've only scanned each barcode here once, so that's why it says 1. And the reason that happens is because if I right-click on this column, you can see that the data type is number, auto increase on scan. So that's how the field's behaving. And it's hidden in the background as well. But I can run a trigger that says this. If the quantity is greater than 1, then notify me via an in-app notification with an error. So you can select any field, and then you can select different conditions, and you can have different stuff happen. But in this case, this is how this trigger is set up. And I prefer the dialog because it forces the user to acknowledge the message. And you can even play a sound if this is true, right? So if the barcode has been scanned more than once, you can play a different sound. But anyways, you can save that. And then on the mobile app, you can scan the barcode again. So for example, I'll scan Olivia's. And this helps you so people don't cheat the system. So when you try to scan their barcode again, you'll get this message here. So it says, this person has already been scanned in. So you know that that person shouldn't be let in because their barcode has already been scanned, and that's what the trigger does here. So I'll turn that off. And then this one says, if the VIP equals true, then notify me. So it notifies the person scanning. You can also send an email or something of that sort, but that's referring, I'll turn this off, but that's referring to this column here. So if the person has a VIP status, it's going to notify you, the person scanning. So that's pretty much how you do it. That's what triggers do, and that's helpful to keep unwanted guests out of your party, making sure they don't reuse an already used barcode. And the second way to scan is by using this session. So it's the exact same thing, except now the only difference is that you'll select a session after you scan the person's barcode. And that's helpful if you want to keep track of what sessions Olivia went to. For example, did they only go to session 1? Did they go to sessions 1, 2, and 3, etc.? So before scanning their barcode, I need to go to settings on the top right corner there, and I want to see that detail screen again, right? Because that's going to allow me to choose a value from the session list, from the drop-down list. So I'm going to turn that on and then tap done. All right, now I can scan their barcode, and then I can say they went to session 1, save and close. I could scan their barcode again and say they went to session 2, save and close. So when I refresh the web app, I can see the most recent scan from the main sheet here. So there it is. But if I click on history, I can see both of those scans, which will be the bottom 2 rows. So I can see Olivia went to session 1 and session 2. So that's how you do that. And if you want to automate the process a little bit more, what you'll do is you'll turn off that detail screen under settings, and then you'll open the detail screen. You can do that by either tapping on that plus icon on the top left corner or by tapping on an entry. Just don't tap save and close. But what you'll do is you'll select a session. So let's say you're at session 3 now, and you're gonna be at session 3 for the next 5 hours, and you don't want to continuously have to select this option after scanning a barcode. So I've already turned off the detail screen, and then I've manually opened it. And then what you'll do is you'll select session 3, and then you'll pin it. Use that cog icon there, right beside the session field, and then select pin value, and then you'll see a little pin icon. Now tap cancel. That's how you pin your value. So now any barcode that you scan now will automatically be logged into the system because the detail screen is off, and it'll automatically be logged with a session 3 value because that value was pinned. So if I scan this, for example, that's all I need to do. That's all the end user needs to do. It's just scan barcodes. So it's very automated for them. And then once you refresh this, the web app, you'll see that these 3 people went to session 3. So that's how you do it. You pin a value via that plus button up here. Just open up the detail screen, pin a value, tap cancel, make sure add detail after scan is turned off, and then that's how you do it. So now you can see what time each person was checked into an event at, and then you can also see what sessions they attended. So that's how you do it. And then the last and final way is to create a sheet per session. So the first thing you'll do is you'll tap on the bottom left corner here to create a new sheet. And this is going to be your master sheet. You can select any template. I'll just select the blank canvas, and then I'll delete all of these columns because I'm going to import that attendee database. And this can be a bare bones sheet. All I need in here is the data. You'll see why in a moment. But basically, you'll import that file. And then that's a brand new sheet, so it doesn't matter what I select there. And so here's the data. Now I can navigate to a different sheet. And when you do that, set up the template exactly how you want to. So in this case, I might have triggers, right? I might have that date timestamp column. I may have that column that counts the scans, as well as a VIP status column. So set up your sheet exactly how you want to, with triggers and custom fields. And then I'm going to clear this because this sheet is going to represent a session. So I'm going to right click it, and then I cleared it, and then now I'll rename it to session 2 like that, or session 1, excuse me. And then now you can add users. So if Owen, for example, is going to help me scan at session 1, I can add them like that. That was under the users tab. And then now they'll receive an email if they don't have an account, and they'll be able to create a password, get signed into the mobile app, and now they can help me at that event. They just have to make sure that they're on the correct sheet. So on the right-hand side, if you click on the sheet name there at the top, they'll be able to see the different ones. Now, master sheet should only be available to you, and then the sessions, that's the ones that you share with users. Okay, so now you have a template, meaning you've set up a sheet exactly the way you want it to. You've added users, triggers, custom fields. So now what you can do, well, actually, you don't need this column anymore, session, because you're going to have a sheet per session, remember. Before you duplicate your template, you'll go to the integrations tab up here, and then under data sources, you'll click a master sheet, and then click save. So what's going to happen is when I scan a barcode from this sheet, it's not going to find any values, but it's going to pull the data from the master sheet if it finds it. So for example, this barcode value here, if I enter it here, Olivia's name will auto-populate, meaning they attended the event. Now, I did that from my computer, but you'll do it just by scanning a barcode. So now that you have a perfect sheet, what you'll do is you'll right-click on it, and then you'll click Duplicates, and then you'll name it the name of your other session. So session 2. You'll include the users and the triggers, because that's part of your template and your setup, and then you'll do that for all of your sessions, whether you have 5 or 10, and that's how you create a session per sheet. So as you can see for session 2, the users included, so are the triggers, and so are the columns. That way you don't have to create everything from scratch. So now, for example, if you go to session 1, remember to navigate to that sheet on the mobile app. What you'll do is, well, first of all, turn off add detail after scan, which it is, and then turn on continuous scan, which is already. Okay, and then now you can just begin scanning. Do notice though that on the local tab here, I have a list of barcodes. That's because I scanned these barcodes earlier. So the local tab is a list of barcodes that you've already scanned. And then the cloud tab is a list of all of the barcodes on your sheet, on the cloud. So right now there's nothing there. That's why the cloud tab doesn't have any data. And then the local tab, I've scanned these 10 barcodes already throughout the demo. That's why you see them here. But I'm going to clear it. And it doesn't matter what tab you're on when you scan. You can be on the cloud tab or on the local tab. It doesn't matter. But what you'll do now is you'll just scan barcodes. So let's say these 3 people here went to session 1. So I'll just scan their barcodes. There's Olivia, there's Liam, and there's Sophie. And then let's say I'm on session 2 now. So on the mobile app, I'll switch to session 2. And then let's say these 5 people went to the event. So on and so forth. And then when I go to the sheet, so on the web app, you can see their information. So now I know these 5 people went to session 2, and then these 3 people went to session 1. There's the date timestamp. And if you wanted to change that format for the date and time scan, you can right-click your sheet, select date time, and then select the format as well as your time zone. So when you export it, you'll see the correct times. And then ideally, you should do that before you duplicate your template. That way you have a perfect template, and you don't need to manually do that each time. But that's it. That's how you do it. That's how you create a sheet per event and then scan people into the different events, the different sheets. What you can also do is on the bottom left corner, you have a plus icon. So click on that. You can merge multiple views into one. So if you quickly wanted to see who went to sessions 1 and 2 without having to jump between 2 different sheets, you can use a view. So you can click create, and then you'll be able to see who attended all of your events. And then one other thing I want to show you. So let's say you wanted to keep track of how much time each person spent at the event. So let's use session 2 as an example. So we know that Olivia came, but we want to know how long she was in there for. So when they come in, you'll scan their barcode. So you'll see it on your sheet like this. But when they leave, you'll scan their barcode as well, just like that. Right? So let's say Noah leaves and then Ava leaves, you'll scan their barcode. And that's it. On the main sheet, you can't see anything but the last scan. But under the history, you can see both of the scans. So for example, Olivia was in there for 3 minutes. In the real world, though, she might have been there for 3 hours. But what you do, though, is you export this data. So if you go to history, you can go to all rows and then download that. Or you can click export on the top left corner here. Just make sure to include history. But once you do that, you'll get rid of all the columns here that you don't need in the export, besides the basic ones that give you the person's name and the time of scan. But when you open the file, you should have a simple view like this. So first name, last name, and then the time of the scan. So for Olivia, we have 2 of her scans there. And what we're going to do is run a formula that tells us the time that she was in there for, that each person was in there for at the event. So after you have your history like this, and you've deleted any unnecessary columns, you can create a formula here. So the formula is unique. And what that does is that it returns a list of unique values, essentially removing any duplicates, and then it puts the values in here. And then to the right of that, you'll create a formula like this. What this formula here does is it calculates the number of hours between the earliest and latest times in column C for rows where column A matches the value in column E2. So that's what it does for this cell here. But what you'll do is you'll drag down after you created the formula for Olivia, and then that same formula is applied for every individual person. And then once you've done that, you can use conditional formatting, for example, to show you which person spent more than 3.5 hours in there, for example. And in this case, it's all of them, so everyone can get a credit. This is specifically helpful for educational institutions if someone must attend a session for more than 3 hours, for example. Okay, so that's how that's done. But Just to recap, I've showed you how to import your data, how to create barcodes if you don't have them, which was by leaving the barcode column empty. And then once your information's in there, you can generate the barcodes, print them, modify them, and then you can go to Google Sheets to send them out in bulk via the Document Studio add-on for Google Sheets. And then once your barcodes are in there, you can just scan them, and then a date timestamp will auto-populate, knowing the person attended the event. And then you can turn off Add a Detail After Scan to scan faster. And you can also have a column, a drop-down list that allows you to choose what session the person went to in case there's multiple sessions and you want to keep track of all the ones that that person went to. And then you can pin the value. So that's in the details screen. Just tap on the cog icon to pin a value. So that's how you can automate that. Or what you can do is just create a sheet per session. And then under integrations, you'll have that master sheet data source there. Just make sure for the very first sheet that you do create, perfect it, add your users, your triggers, change the date time format, and then that's the one that you can actually duplicate when you create a sheet per event. And that's basically it. If you do have any other questions, please send us a message. There's a support button here on the top right corner. You can ask us anything. And then we also have docs. Just click on the docs button, and then you'll see a list of our documents. Thank you so much for watching. We're glad to have you here, and I hope this is very productive for you. Until then, bye-bye.